Okay, so if I asked you, what was the absolute most profitable blockbuster movie of 2016? What would you guess? Like superheroes, Star Wars.
Yeah, something huge, right? Like Captain America, Civil War maybe, or Finding Dory. Those were massive that year.
You'd think so.
Uh,
But nope, the actual answer. It's a cartoon about pets, basically throwing parties when their owners leave. The Secret Life of Pets.
wow, really? That one, I mean, I remember it, but most profitable.
Yeah,
That's genuinely surprising.
isn't it? And that shock that a movie most critics kind of shrugged off as, well, shallow, actually made that much money. That's our starting point for this deep dive.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Yeah, we're looking at two things today. First, the business side. How did Illumination Entertainment pull that off? What's their secret sauce for making these passably okay movies just print money?
The economics of animation, basically.
Exactly. And second, we're using that movie's whole fantasy premise,
Yeah.
pets having adventures
Mhm.
as a jumping off point to talk about the much less fun reality, what actually happens when pets are left alone. We're
Yeah.
diving into canine separation anxiety.
Right, it's this weird mix, isn't it? Hollywood fantasy versus some pretty serious animal behavior science. The movie gives us a laugh, but the reality, that needs a proper look.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
What does a nearly $400 million profit margin tell us about both Hollywood and maybe the human-animal bond itself? Let's dig into the money first, because the numbers really are kind of wild. You mentioned profit deadline estimated around $375 million net profit.
Which is enormous, and what's really telling is the profit ratio.
Explain that a bit.
So it's basically the total money earned versus the total money spent. For Secret Life of Pets, that ratio is about 2.18.
Okay, is that good?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
To put it in perspective, it was actually higher than Deadpool's ratio that same year, which was around 1.99, and Deadpool was considered a massive runaway success.
Wow. Okay, so how did they do that? Especially when you hear the production budget was, what, $75 million? That sounds pretty low for a big animated film.
It is low, and that's the figure studios love to advertise, right? Makes them look efficient.
But like you hinted, that's not the real total cost, is it? That $75 million is just for making the movie itself.
Exactly, that's just production. When Deadline's experts dug into it, they figured the total cost was closer to $317 million.
Whoa. Okay, so where does all that extra money go if it's not making the movie?
Well, the biggest chunk, marketing, something like $140 million. Just telling people the movie exists.
Right. Posters, trailers, TV spots.
All of it. Then you've got almost $50 million for worldwide video costs, DVDs, streaming deals, that sort of thing. Plus, maybe $25 million in residuals and off-the-tops money paid out based on revenue.
Okay.
And then smaller bits like interest and overhead, maybe another $12 million. It all adds up, way beyond that initial $75 million.
And this is kind of related to that infamous Hollywood accounting, isn't it? Where movies somehow never make a profit on paper.
Uh-huh. It's definitely in that ballpark. While they did make a huge real profit here, the principle of downplaying the official net profit by maximizing reported costs is common. Studios might shift costs around between different company divisions.
Why do that? To, avoid paying people.
Often, yeah. It can reduce tax burdens, but it also, crucially, minimizes how much they might have to pay out to actors or writers whose contracts give them a percentage of the net profits. If the books show a smaller net profit, well, you get the idea. They can make $885 million worldwide and still claim it barely broke even on paper for certain calculations.
Crazy. So Illumination, the studio behind Pets and the Minions, they've clearly figured out a system.
Oh, absolutely. They're masters of cost efficiency in animation. Part of it is the style. They often use slightly simpler animation, maybe less detail on fur textures, less complex lighting.
Stuff that takes loads of computing power and time.
Exactly. Saves rendering time, saves money. They also frequently outsource a lot of the animation work, often to studios in France, which can be more cost-effective.
And the formula for the movies themselves.
It seems to be, make it for kids, make it passably okay. It doesn't have to be Pixar-level deep. Give it broad appeal.
Like pets. Or babies, as someone pointed out, are universal in advertising.
Precisely. Dogs and babies, universally loved, and then attach some big-name voice actors people recognize. It's a formula that clearly works incredibly well financially.
Okay, so that's the business side. Ruthlessly efficient, maybe a bit cynical. But the whole thing hinges on this fantasy, right? This idea the movie sells us, that when we leave, our pets are secretly having these amazing, human-like adventures, parties, rock music.
Right. The film even got criticized for being, well, kind of forgettable and shallow. Some reviews pointed out it felt like an almost beat-for-beat rip of Pixar's Toy Story.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, think about it. You've got the established favorite pet, then a rival new pet arrives, they get lost in the big city together, fall in with a group of misfit, slightly revolutionary animals, and there's even a climactic chase involving a truck.
Huh. Okay, I see the parallels now. But the core idea, the premise,
Oh, that's gold. It taps directly into that universal curiosity every pet owner has. What do they really do all day? The movie just gives us the fun, escapist answer.
but here's where we pivot. Because the real secret life for so many pets, it's often not fun at all, is it?
No. Sadly, the sources are pretty clear. For many dogs, that time alone is often described as boring, frustrating, and lonely. It's a far cry from the movie's party scenes.
And this isn't just a few isolated cases. This is where it gets, well, kind of staggering, actually. Some research suggests that almost half of all pet dogs show signs of distress when left alone at some point in their lives.
Yeah, and other studies estimate that maybe 40% of dogs in U.S. homes currently suffer from some form of diagnosed anxiety. That's millions of
It's a
dogs.
massive welfare issue hidden behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the biggest misconception owners have. When they come home and find the couch shredded or, a mess on the floor.
The immediate thought is often, he did this to get back at me for leaving, or he's being spiteful.
Right. Revenge.
Yeah. And that's the absolute critical thing owners need to let go of. Dogs do not act destructively out of spite or some kind of moral vendetta. They aren't capable of that kind of complex, premeditated revenge plotting.
So it's not malice.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's almost always distress. That destruction is an outlet. It's a physical manifestation of profound anxiety or sometimes sheer boredom, or maybe just pent up excess energy they haven't been able to burn off.
Understanding that difference is key, isn't it? Because it changes how you react.
Completely. If you think it's spite, you might punish the dog when you get home. But the dog has no idea why you're suddenly angry hours after they chewed the table leg. They can't connect your anger now to their action from way earlier.
So what do they learn?
They learn that your return sometimes means scary, unpredictable anger, which of course just makes them more anxious about you leaving next time. It feeds the cycle. Punishment after the fact is not only inappropriate, it's actively harmful.
Okay, so if we need to spot distress, not bad behavior, what are the signs? Especially since, you're not there to see it happen. Yep.
Well, the obvious ones are often things neighbors might complain about. Persistent barking or howling that isn't just a reaction to, the mailman or a passing siren. It's sustained vocalization.
Okay. And the physical destruction.
Look where it's happening. Is it random chewing all over? Or is it concentrated around doors, windows, maybe screen doors, places they might try to escape from?
Exit points.
Exactly. Chewing door frames, digging at carpets near the door, scratching at windowsills. Sometimes they can really injure themselves doing this. Broken teeth, scraped paws, damaged nails. It's driven by panic.
Are there other, maybe less destructive signs of panic? Things you might see on a pet cam, perhaps?
Definitely. And cameras can be really useful here. You might see pacing, walking back and forth along the same path repeatedly, excessive drooling or salivating, panting when it's not hot, trembling or constant whining.
What about house soiling?
Yes, urinating or defecating indoors only when the owner is absent can be a big sign of separation distress, assuming the dog is otherwise reliably house-trained. And in some severe cases, you might even see coprophagia, the dog eating its own feces, which is often linked to high stress.
So lots of potential signs. But it's also not always separation anxiety causing destruction, right? What else could be going on?
That's a crucial point. Before you jump to treating separation anxiety, you need to rule out other potential causes. The MSPCA Angel Source lists several possibilities.
Like what?
Well, for puppies, it could simply be teething. They need to chew to relieve gum pain. You just need to provide appropriate things to chew.
Okay, makes sense.
For other dogs, it might be fear-related. A sudden thunderstorm, fireworks, even loud construction nearby could trigger panic and attempts to escape, leading to destruction that looks like separation anxiety but is actually a phobia response.
So related to a specific scary event, not just being alone.
Right. Or it could be simple boredom or lack of exercise, especially for high energy breeds. They need an outlet. Sometimes it's just investigative behavior, young dogs exploring the world with their mouths.
And medical issues.
Always important to rule out. Dental pain could cause excessive chewing. Certain conditions might cause excessive hunger, leading them to scavenge or destroy things looking for food. And there's a condition called pica, which is more of a compulsive need to eat non-food items. A vet check is always a good idea.
Okay. So true separation anxiety often has specific triggers then. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere.
Often, yes. Common triggers include a change in ownership or guardian, moving to a new house, an abrupt change in the daily schedule, like someone going back to work after being home for a while, or the loss of another pet or human family member. These shifts can disrupt their sense of security.
All right, let's shift to solutions. If you realize your dog's secret life is more panic attack than party, what are the first steps? Let's start with time. How long is too long to leave a dog alone?
There's pretty clear guidance on this. The RSPCA, for example, strongly recommends that adult dogs shouldn't be left completely alone for more than 4 hours at a stretch.
4 hours max. Why that time frame?
It's about basic welfare, ensuring they have opportunities to go outside for toileting, to stretch their legs, and just to have some social interaction. Any longer risks distress, boredom, and potential accidents.
And before you even walk out the door for those 4 hours or less, preparation helps.
Absolutely. Make sure your dog has had good exercise, not just a quick walk around the block, but some proper aerobic activity, like fetch or a run about half an hour before you leave. And of course, make sure they've had a chance to go to the toilet.
So, a tired dog with an empty bladder is generally a calmer dog.
That's the idea. Manage their physical needs first.
Okay, so managing time and physical needs is the base. But how do you start actually changing their emotional response? Shifting that association with being alone from panic to something okay.
This is where counterconditioning and enrichment come in, especially for milder cases. The core idea is to change the dog's underlying feeling about being left.
How do you do that?
One really effective technique is the special toy rule. You get a safe, durable puzzle toy, like a classic Care and Joy is perfect, and you stuff it with something incredibly high value and long-lasting.
Like what? Peanut butter.
Yeah, frozen peanut butter is great because it takes ages to get out. Or cream cheese, wet dog food mixed with kibble and frozen. Something they really love and that keeps them occupied.
Okay, got the magic toy. Then what?
The crucial part. This toy only comes out when you leave. You give it to them just before you walk out the door. And the second you get back, you take it away again.
Ah, so being alone predicts this amazing treat appearing.
Exactly. It starts to change the association. Your departure predicts something wonderful happening, and it gives their brains something positive to focus on instead of anxiety.
What about just making the environment less, well, boring or scary?
That's environmental enrichment. Simple things can help. Leaving a radio or TV on, maybe talk radio or calming music. Some sources suggest nature programs can provide comforting background noise.
Like white noise.
Sort of, yeah. It can mask potentially startling sounds from outside. Also, ensuring they have access to a room with a window, a view, can help. And rotate their regular toy so they don't get bored. Novelty keeps things interesting.
Okay, that sounds good for mild anxiety. But what about dogs who are having full-blown panic attacks? The ones who start freaking out the moment you even pick up your keys.
Yeah, for moderate to severe anxiety, you often need more intensive intervention, and honestly, professional help is really recommended. Look for a certified applied animal behaviorist, CAAB, or a board-certified veterinary behaviorist, DACVB.
Why the pro help?
Because the process needs to be very gradual and carefully managed. We talked about those pre-departure cues, keys jingling, putting on a coat, picking up a bag.
The things that trigger the panic before you even leave.
Right, you need to desensitize the dog to those cues. This means doing those actions, picking up your keys, putting on your coat many, many times a day, but then not leaving.
So you pick up the keys, and then just put them down again. Put on your coat, walk to the door, walk back, take it off.
Exactly. Over and over, you break the connection. Keys jingling no longer automatically predicts hours of scary solitude. It just becomes noise.
Okay, that makes sense. And the actual leaving part. There's a specific technique for that too, right?
Yeah.
Graduated absences.
Yes, this is the core treatment for severe cases. The absolute key is to start with separations that are so short the dog does not experience anxiety. We're talking seconds initially.
Like walk out the door, close it, immediately open it, and walk back in.
Pretty much. You find the duration your dog can handle without any signs of distress, no whining, no pacing, maybe it's 5 seconds, maybe 30. Then you practice that repeatedly, very slowly. You increase the duration, always ensuring the dog stays calm below their anxiety threshold.
That sounds like it takes a lot of patience.
It takes immense patience and consistency. You might be stuck at 1-minute absences for a week. If the dog shows anxiety, you've gone too fast, you need to drop back to a shorter duration where they were comfortable.
And how you act when you leave and come back matters too, doesn't it? No big dramatic goodbyes or reunions.
Crucial. Keep departures and arrivals incredibly low-key. No emotional, tearful goodbyes. Just a calm, matter-of-fact goodbye, maybe a quick pat if they're calm, and then leave. When you return, ignore any frantic jumping or whining. Wait until they are completely calm, sitting or lying down quietly before giving gentle attention, like a calm hello and a scratch.
Why is that calmness so important?
It lowers the emotional stakes. Big, excited greetings make your presence seem like this amazing, high arousal event, which makes your absence feel even worse by comparison. Calm greetings minimize that contrast.
It's really interesting how technology is starting to play a role here, too. You mentioned pet cams earlier.
Yeah, they've become so much more sophisticated. It's not just a static view anymore. Many have 360-degree pan and tilt, so you can actually look around the room. Two-way audio lets you listen in and even talk to your pet, though using that needs care. Sometimes it can confuse or distress them more.
And some have AI now. What does that do?
This is pretty cool, actually. Some systems use AI to recognize specific behaviors. It can differentiate between barking, howling, whining, or even detect things like pacing or trembling that might be hard to spot in a quick check-in.
So it can flag potential distress signs automatically.
Exactly. It can even provide summaries like barking detected for 5 minutes at 10:15 a.m. or pacing observed between 2:0 and 2:30 p.m. This gives owners much better data on when the anxiety is happening and what might be triggering it. It helps reveal those hidden signs we talked about.
That sounds incredibly useful for tailoring the training plan, figuring out how long they can really cope before anxiety kicks in.
Precisely. It takes some of the guesswork out of those graduated absences and helps you track progress much more objectively.
So wrapping this all up, it feels like we've gone from a surprisingly profitable cartoon to some quite serious responsibilities for pet owners.
It really highlights the gap, doesn't it? The fictional secret life of pets made a fortune by tapping into a very relatable, lighthearted fantasy about what our animals do. It's fun escapism.
But the real secret life, for potentially millions of dogs, isn't a party. It's often a state of anxiety or distress that requires, well, quite a bit of informed, consistent work from us, the humans, way more than Hollywood wants us thinking about.
Yeah, the fun fantasy sells tickets. The reality requires commitment, understanding of animal behavior, patience, maybe even help from professionals.
So here's maybe a final thought to chew on. We started with this incredibly successful film that leveraged the universal appeal of pets, especially dogs. We know dogs are smart, social animals. They have their own interests, sniffing things, playing, interacting. Research suggests dogs with strong, secure attachment bonds with their owners are actually less likely to develop separation anxiety. So if the quality of the time you spend with them when you're home is potentially more protective than just the sheer quantity, what does that mean for our daily routines? Are we just fitting them in around the edges, or are we actively building that secure bond that might make their secret life, when we're gone, a little less anxious and a bit more? Okay, something to consider.